The story of the mummy case by Sidney Smith in 1890. At an obscure archaeological site on the outskirts of London, a group of workers made a remarkable discovery, a body that had been preserved in an unusual manner. The corpse was wrapped in ancient cloth and appeared remarkably intact, raising the curiosity of the authorities. This was no ordinary find, it was a mystery that required the expertise of the renowned investigator Sidney Smith. When Sidney Smith was informed about the discovery, he felt a rush of excitement. He arrived at the site with his team of investigators and began to closely examine the body. The facial features were clear, and it was evident that the individual belonged to a distant historical period. Smith began his analysis by scrutinizing every detail of the corpse. He noticed that the mummification process was unusually meticulous. Rare materials, such as tree resin and local plants, had been used in the preservation, which was not typical for that era. Upon examining the bones, he found that the individual was middle-aged at the time of death. However, he sensed that there was something more complex behind this body. Alongside the body, Smith discovered several ancient tools and artifacts. It was clear they belonged to an ancient civilization, but which one? He carefully examined the items and began to connect the evidence to historical information. Some of the tools bore symbols linked to ancient legends about a lost king. This prompted Smith to believe they were on the verge of uncovering a deep-seated secret. Not content with visual assessments alone, Smith employed the available genetic techniques of the time to analyze a tissue sample. After several days of examination, he arrived at a stunning discovery: the body belonged to a king from a region that was historically significant. This information deepened the mystery surrounding the case, as it was unclear how a king had ended up in such a state. Smith began reconstructing the events leading to the king's death. He applied his psychological analysis skills to explore possible motives. He considered palace conspiracies, power struggles, and betrayals that may have occurred during that period. He had a strong sense that the crime resulted from a dramatic event, rather than a mere accident. After weeks of analysis and deductions, Sidney Smith finally uncovered the truth. He discovered that the king had been murdered in a conspiracy orchestrated by members of his own government who were plotting his overthrow. This incident was part of a long-standing power struggle. This story revealed not only the mystery surrounding the fate of the king, but also the genius of Sidney Smith as a forensic scientist. Smith combined science, analysis, and history to understand the past, adding depth to the narrative. Ultimately, the case highlighted the power of research and analysis in unraveling complex mysteries, solidifying Sidney Smith's status as a prominent figure in the field of criminal investigations.